Captains to Har Masters, Honored Firsts, and other assorted ranks, welcome to the Season 4 launch of STOBETTER. In this brief video, we'll showcase our new and updated content, so let's dive in. After much deliberation, we have introduced a build pricing tier system. You can see the full details on our build costs guide, but we have categorized builds into 4 broad groups: Starter, Economy, Mid-Range, and Premium. Starter represents a bare bones endgame build, with no C-Store, Fleet, or low-buy purchases, no upgrades or event items, no trait unlocks, and a minimal energy credit investment available to even the most extreme free-to-play players. Economy opens up key areas for build potential with limited C-Store purchases, fleet gear, and some trait unlocks, while also expanding the energy credit budget. We allow event items to be used here with substitutions, and upgraded gear is a possibility but is not mandatory. Mid-range straddles the broad space between the unlimited budget premium builds and economy. In this tier, the C-Store is broadly available and low-buy ships and numerous exchange items can be used. However, in this tier, we're restricting the use of any lockbox or promo ships in order to keep the costs a little lower. Premium, of course, represents peak budget. We found that the most popular STO YouTubers tend to build heavily here, and we're no exception. There is more potential and creativity afforded when more options are unlocked. But we also created the other tiers and builds to populate them, because we recognize not everyone has that level of in-game assets. We certainly don't have every ship in the game, and we have to earn or be given anything expensive that we have. All of the builds on STOBETTER have been appropriately tagged with their tier with the icons shown in the previous slides. If you're curious enough about it, you can also find a build cost calculator linked from the build costs guide to help you determine which tier your build falls into. As with all of our other spreadsheet tools, to use it, simply go to File and make a copy. For most players, the exact tier of your build doesn't matter, but since we're trying to help other people, we wanted to provide a rubric to group builds into different tiers to better help people based on their approximate budget. We understand that not every build, in fact most builds, won't fall neatly into these categories. It's there as a starting point to help you understand what build will best help you, rather than a hard and fast rule we expect people to follow. For starter builds, we now have Tier 5 Sovereign, Intrepid, Vorcha, and Tavaro builds. These builds will help cover introductory and gameplay and provide an up-to-date resource for players that are just starting the game. All these builds are over 100k DPS on Elite. However, we also did extensive testing to ensure that they were survivable and capable on general advanced content in a non-supported environment. They'll still struggle to be independently capable on Elite, but at least can get their foot in the door. If you need a solid foundation across a variety of build types, these builds will serve you well. In the Economy tier, we have added a Beam Overload Gagarin build, a Scatter Volley Cyclone build, a Fire at Will Arbiter build, and an Exotic Palatine build. All of these builds are solidly Elite capable with just a little bit of investment from the C-Store and a few well-chosen exchange items. Next up, our Tank Lexington and Kinetic Scimitar have been economized to mid-range, alongside our pre-existing Fire at Will Arbiter and Scatter Volley Kaimesh builds. The Arbiter's also had a little polish, and has increased its DPS. T-Lore's Akira Carrier build is also in this category. If you have access to most of the C-Store and some key event items, maybe a low-buy ship or two, but lockbox or promo ships are out of reach, these are the builds for you. All of them are Elite capable across a variety of task force operations or missions. Lastly, in the Premium tier, we have some new builds that we're excited about showcasing. We now have a Gamora Flight Deck Carrier build, adding a third pet-focused build to our roster. A support tank Kiwavi has also made its triumphant return, adding our take on one of the more popular support tank platforms. Lastly, we have added our first Kinetic Exotic hybrid build, a class we call Torpsci, featuring the Terran Trailblazer. Many of our other builds have received updates, including the Kronos Heavy Tank, Exotic Equinox, Support Joragumo, Cannon Rapid Fire Edison, Exceed Rated Limits Gagarin, and Beam Overload Legendary Excelsior. So if those types interest you, make sure to check them out. Besides builds, we have a few other items to announce. Minor updates to the Trinity tool and tier lists have been added, and will continue to add more as we evaluate the last generation lockbox and pending 14th anniversary bundle. Our Revisiting Exotic series continues on the Stow Builds subreddit as we've updated our exotic console ranking in the 22nd installment. On YouTube, we have added a video on flanking combinations with the Subspace Jumper on our channel. We also now have tutorials for the Herald Sphere TFO across a variety of playstyles. Lastly, our slideshow guide for TFOs has now been updated for some of the more common ground TFOs. It's great for putting up on a second screen if you're playing random elite TFOs and need a refresher on the objectives. Thank you for watching our season launch video. We're excited to share our new content with you. Please leave us a comment or question and let us know if we should continue doing these announcement videos each time we have a new release. Thanks again, live long and prosper, and we'll see you here next time.